setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in Seattle, 1150 AM, KKNW. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Thursday. Good to have you with us today, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Guest-free this hour. Coming up in next hour, Taya Ming is going to be joining us. The Enormous Crocodile, the musical. This is one of the Roald Dahl stories. The Roald Dahl Story Company is bringing that to the Twin Cities. We will talk to Taya Ming coming up here as she stars as the Enormous Crocodile. All right, that's good. You know what? In this industry, that's what we call a get. There you go. Nice. I'm looking forward to this. Children's Theater does a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, I heard this is the U.S. premiere of that show too. So
yeah, there you go.
Something to look forward to.
All right. And once again, that's Children's Theater Company. We'll be talking to them coming up here in just a little bit. How are you today, Brett?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How about you?
All righty. Have you ever been out to Disneyland, Disney World, either one of them?
Disneyland a lot of times from when I lived out there as a kid.
Oh, okay. Where did you live?
Near kind of the Thousand Oaks area.
Okay. I went to Disney World down in Orlando one time. Basically what had happened is when we moved back to Minnesota, my parents made the decision that if you guys were going to go see Disney World, because we lived in Georgia, we lived in kind of northeastern Georgia. And they said, if you're going to go to Orlando, go see Disney World, you might as well go now. And so we drove down to Florida. I went through Disney World. Did you see the Haunted Mansion while you were there? Ever go through that?
That I don't remember, unfortunately.
A fun little one. I think they did a movie about it with DeVito and Owen Wilson, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best movie. They're trying to replicate Pirates of the Caribbean with all their movies, and it's pretty much not worked outside of Pirates of the Caribbean. And so they've it's a fun little story. Although when I was a kid, I went into it, I thought it was going to be based on that great Disney cartoon of Mickey, Goofy, and Donald going into the haunted house. And I think it is a little bit in there, but not really. And so, yeah, there's other things in there, and it was okay. It was all right. I will say I prefer it better to than this attempt where everything has to be either a zombie or a chainsaw killer when you go into the modern haunted house. I mean, there's, ghosts don't scare you at all, or as Letterman one time said, nothing scares me more, kids, than unrequited love. And so, I think that, better than the standard Slaughter Hayride. You ever done Slaughter Hayride or anything like that?
Probably a variation at some point at like Valley Fair or something.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Well, what's hard about, with the amusement park we have up in the Twin Cities, Valley Fair, they got Snoopy characters right next to you. Come watch them disembowel somebody. It's like, okay, that's I miss that holiday special. Apparently this is actually a sad story. A woman has died in Disneyland after riding the Haunted Mansion attraction. This is at the California theme park. Anaheim Police spokesperson Matt Sutter said by email the woman suffered an unfortunate medical episode at the park. Woman was in her 60s, was not identified by police. Now, sure, there might have been one or two little jump scares. I would hope somebody that didn't have a serious heart condition wasn't getting on a haunted house ride. It's like my vertigo's kicking in. Hey, let's go do the roller coaster, kids. I would hope not. That would be the case. They tried to provide CPR to the woman. She'd initially suffered a medical episode. First responders arrived at 6:30 p.m. to call about an unresponsive woman who had just been found on the ride. Yikes. The woman was taken to a nearby hospital where she was pronounced dead. Yikes. Haunted Mansion ride, though, was reopened shortly.
Wait, no. They're taking that a little too literally with the haunted.
They reopened it shortly after the woman had been taken away by paramedics. Someone tell me you squeegeed off the seat.
do you want to be the person that sits there next? That's kind of creepy.
Oh God!
Say,
did they tell them? Well, of course they didn't tell them.
No one's gonna want to sit there. Oh, a person just died there like an hour ago. This is your seat. How do you feel about that?
Well, also too, you've been to Disney World, Disneyland. You got to wait in those lines. I guarantee you're gonna. No, I'll put up with it. I'll put up with the center.
Oh, you got the parents who've been screaming kids for an hour waiting in line. Oh, whatever.
We'll be fine. Billy, you sit in that seat. All right, nice. The beloved Haunted Mansion ride takes park guests on a tour of a haunted house attraction where spirits and other supernatural beings haunt the path. It opened in 1969 after being in development for over a decade at Disneyland when it first opened. Apparently, it was the last of the rides that Walt himself was involved in. So, okay, I can't do that. No, I can't. Walt has a history. Just go read up on it. Just go read up on the history. I'll just say it like that. And then you can probably figure out where I was going to go with that. All right. Okay. All right. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Okay. So I got to ask a question right now. And it's something that Stein and I talked about yesterday. And it's something which, especially as ICE deploys themselves around the city of Chicago, what exactly is their job anymore? Now, yesterday, we talked extensively about how ICE shot a pastor in the head with a pepper round bullet. In the head. They were standing on top of a building. The pastor was just praying for them, and they shot the pastor in the head. Then we find out that a reverend and her group were standing across the street singing "We Shall Overcome," and they got fired upon with rubber bullets. Wow. And the one thing and this is what brought this whole thought process around for me, is I said to Jeff, Jeff, okay, so ICE is supposed to be Immigration and Customs Enforcement. That's ICE. So they should, if they're looking at immigration and customs, that's what they should be looking for. And that's just that. The military that's being deployed there is only there to defend federal property. Okay? So they're defending, like if there's a federal courthouse. Well, they're surrounding the courthouse and putting a guard duty on there, and that's what they are doing. That's what they're saying their job is. Protecting federal land, federal offices. So they're not supposed to, and it's one of the things that's really interesting is the military is very clear about this, is that they're not supposed to necessarily be going out on patrol. They're not supposed to be doing that. If there is a protest in the street or on the sidewalks that are public land, that's not the federal government. That's the city of Chicago. And if these guys have a problem with a protester or someone like that who is just near their building, they shouldn't be firing rounds at anybody. They should call the Chicago Police Department and have the Chicago Police Department deal with the crowd control, because that's the Chicago Police Department's job, not ICE. Since then, I have seen 2 videos which seems to show a ICE which is no longer any sort of immigration and customs enforcement, but more of like one of those militias you saw in like the Day of the Dead movie, where they're drunk on their own power and feel as if no rules or laws apply to them in any capacity or shape or form whatsoever, that they can do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. And apparently some guy who lives in a neighborhood in Chicago, he honked his car horn. That's all he did. Honked his car horn. We all have a horn on our cars. He said he was trying to, warn people, hey, ICE is here. But he parked his car and came over. ICE gets out, goes over, confronts this guy, and basically says, we can arrest you for any reason we deem fit. You get one warning. Now, once again, this isn't immigration. This isn't customs enforcement. This is police thuggery at its finest, on display. Which, once again, here is where we are once again running a parallel to regimes that have taken power and created a situation, usually a police force, which is loyal to the leaders, not the country. It always happens some way in these countries. You'll find some obscure policing organization. You suddenly send a bunch of January 6 terrorists to join them after you've pardoned them, fund them to the gills, tell them they're not responsible to any law in the country, and then you release them onto the streets. That's what I think we have to understand. I mean, and this is something which I'm hoping the judges are paying attention. I'll get to that in a second, but we need to actually start getting the Republicans online and saying, is ICE basically a police force uber alles, that they don't have to follow any laws, any rules, anything, that they can arrest any American citizen without cause. They can basically, do whatever they want to. Now, I'm sure come about May of next year, a lot of these Republicans are, I was never on board with that, but I'm pretty sure most of the Republicans today will be like, beat them in the streets, beat them. Because that's kind of where the Republican Party is right now. Illinois is urging a judge on Thursday to order the National Guard to stand down in the Chicago area, calling the deployment a constitutional crisis and suggesting the Trump administration gave no heed to the pending legal challenge when it sent troops overnight into an immigration enforcement building. The government plowed ahead anyway, said Attorney Christopher Wells of the State Attorney General's office, and now troops are here. Wells's argument opened up an extraordinary hearing in federal court in Chicago. The city and state, run by Democratic elected officials, say President Trump has exceeded his authority and ignored their pleas to keep the guard off the streets. Heavy public turnout of the downtown courthouse caused officials to open up an overflow room with the video feed. Brandon Johnson got a seat in the corner of the courtroom. That basically, that's the mayor of Chicago, for those that don't know. Feds say the guard won't solve all crime. Well, but okay, so you had ICE agents. Now the guard is not there. Once again, the guard is not there to solve crime. The guard is there to protect federal buildings. You've got ICE out there, and there is this real attempt by the White House right now to blur these lines. ICE is walking down by the Chicago riverfront with guns loaded on their back, basically threatening anyone they want to. That's not immigration. That's not customs enforcement. That is thuggery, police thuggery. And I mean, once again, any judge that goes along with this, I got to wonder what your allegiances are at this point. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
That's right. I like it. I keep coming back.
Attention event planners and festival organizers. This is Frank Brown from Minuteman Press Uptown, your union print shop partner for your next event. We're here to check items off your list and make your event the talk of the town. From stunning banners and eye-catching signage to programs, tickets, and name badges, we print everything. Get promotional products at prices that let you load up on merch and fill those swag bags. Make your event unforgettable with Minuteman Uptown. Visit us at mpuptown.com.
This is Mitch, owner of Junk Masters. Feeling overwhelmed by clutter? Spring's the perfect time to reclaim your space and peace of mind. Renting a dumpster is costly, and it all ends up in the landfill. Just show us what goes. We give usable items a second life by donating them. No calling all over town trying to figure out who takes what. We do the legwork for you. Easy, cost-effective, and local. There's no obligation. Visit junkmastersmn.com today.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. October is here, so Halloween is right around the corner. And if you're thinking of having a horror movie marathon with friends, you better make sure your home doesn't look like something out of one of those movies. Don't ghost your carpet this fall. My cleaning heroes at Zero Res can help get all those spooky smells and creepy stains out of your home. Carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, any surface in your home can be Zero Resified. Right now, you can get your entire home Zero Resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner, with 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. But there's something even scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home, and it's in your air ducts. This month, take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning service. Don't let a missed deal haunt you. Call 9520-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com today and ask for the AM 950 special. Back order forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 5th year, November 7th through the 9th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. There's nothing like Twin Cities Con. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than before. Come see from the Star Wars universe Ahmad Best, Rosario Dawson, and Giancarlo Esposito, Brendan Fraser, and the cast of The Mummy, WWE Wrestling Hall of Famers Sting and Mick Foley, and the voice actors from the hit Disney series Phineas and Ferb, plus more guests to be announced. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $50. Kids tickets are just $10 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including a 3-day weekend pass, plus some really cool VIP perks. More guests will be announced. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Yeah, I mean, what we are watching this agency be transformed in front of our eyes from a very specific. I mean, your goal is immigration and customs enforcement. Fine, all right, that's what your job is. But now there is this mentality that they're the last remaining armed force after the zombie apocalypse, and it's their way or the highway sort of mentality. And I am just, okay, how in the hell is any judge saying, okay, you're here for customs and immigration enforcement. Why are you threatening the citizens without warrants or anything like that? And they're definitely, I mean, adding credence to the argument that they're there to basically start something bigger. They are trying. They seem to be trying. It seems to be that's what their goal is. And my guess is, by the way, I'm going to guess a good chunk of these ICE jackasses are a bunch of January 6th terrorists. You know, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. My guess is a bunch of the ICE guys are January 6th guys, and they're just acting like you were wrong, do it, buddy. You know, they're acting like they're the militia guy in charge of the post-apocalyptic zombie town. They're the militia guy in charge, and their former girlfriend, whose husband and all their kids got eaten by zombies, she shows up out there. And I'll tell you what, you know, you should have loved me back then, but you didn't. Now I'm your best friend, aren't I, huh? I mean, that's the ICE guys right now. They're all acting like that douchey role from the Walking Dead. Seriously. It's scary stuff. Chicago does not really have much patience for them. They had a big old rally in Grant Park last night. I mean, that was huge. Nice to see that, guys. And yeah, this is the beginning. Chicago's the template. They're going to come everywhere. They're going to be in Seattle. They're going to be in Minneapolis. That's where they're going. 952-946, because they can't have that 2026 election happen. That 2026 election cannot happen, and because the whole goal is to prevent Trump from ever being held accountable. And I can't wait for the eventual lawsuits where they're going to be arguing that nobody has a right to know who I was when I was out there policing on the streets. That you're violating my rights by letting people know that I was the thug that basically started clubbing people and shooting priests in the head with their pepper bullets. No one should know who I am. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of stupids in the White House, there's a lot of them there. Now, political observers, Wall Street Journal basically has released a bombshell new report. This kind of is in conjunction with what Trump did, where he sent that message to Pam Bondi. I think this was on like the 20th of September, telling the Bondi that the administration was losing credibility by not prosecuting Comey as a direct message. Instead, Trump, he posted it publicly, which caused Bondi to move forward with prosecuting Comey, according to the report. The report led observers and analysts to conclude that Trump may be conducting official state business on his social media network, which definitely violates federal law and to be used to evade accountability for illicit acts. I mean, let me ask you this. You think that even if there's a court order, they're going to hand over all of his private messages that he sent out? No, they're going to, oops, we just did a maintenance purge and all of his private. I mean, this is what happens sometimes. We just purge all the messages. I know everyone in this site cares passionately about the information security habits of top government officials, but the president of the United States communicating with his cabinet via Truth Social direct messages is both insane and in violation of the Presidential Records Act. That was Dan Pfeiffer from the Obama administration. He posted. Now, the fact that these guys are this stupid with social media should not be a surprise. I mean, it's what was the Signal app? They were using the Signal app to discuss military strikes. I mean, these guys are not smart. I mean, the White House is not smart. They're all zealots. They're all bigoted, racist zealots. That's what they are. But they're not smart. And proof of that is there's some real question on whether or not the courts are going to even allow a prosecution of Luigi Mangione, the man who shot the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thomas, because basically Trump has poisoned the jury pool. Now, before I get into this, I want to remind people that when Trump went on trial in New York, the Republicans' mentality was to try to discredit anything and everything. And that unless that trial happened in the reddest district, in the reddest state in the country, and that all Trump worshipers were on the jury, if they convicted him, that then and only then was that a legit trial. See, these same idiots, though, don't seem to understand what they have done. An attorney for Mangione told NBC News Thursday that in regards to the allegations that the online post could threaten their client's chance at a fair trial, they'd be filing a letter with the court in short order. Trump weighed in on the case last month when he told Fox News that Mangione had shot Thompson right in the middle of the back. A claim that Mangione's attorney argued inferred his client's guilt. Trump's comments were parroted, however, by the White House affiliated Twitter account, Rapid Response 47. So this is a White House official response, social media account. It shared a video of Trump's comments on September 19th to its more than 1.2 million followers. That post was in turn shared by the DOJ's Public Affairs Office Deputy Director, Chad Gilmartin, who also wrote that Trump was absolutely right in regards to Mangione. So here's the DOJ saying he's guilty before his trial. Here is a White House social media page out there saying, yep, he's guilty, 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 guilty. Federal prosecutors are attempting to downplay the severity of Trump officials' comments, petitioning the courts Wednesday to disregard them. They operate entirely outside the scope of the prosecution team, poses no operational role in the investigation or prosecutorial functions in the Mangione manner, and are not associated with this litigation. Well, the one guy's from the DOJ, so you guys can't argue that at all. They're basically screaming, you can't pay attention to this. Federal prosecutors said that they had already promptly directed the Trump officials to remove the online posts after they become aware of their existence. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to the charges levied against him, which include first and second degree murder, along with criminal possession of a weapon. A judge recently dismissed terrorism charges against Mangione after arguing they were legally insufficient. If it's gotten to a point where Trump has poisoned the jury pool, before anyone questions, my personal thing from the evidence I've seen, Mangione sure looks guilty. And what he did to Thompson was inexcusable and horrible. And obviously, he deserves his day in court, but found guilty, he deserves to be punished. The problem is that you can think that. The problem is if the judge has determined that, no, there's no way on the planet he's going to be able to get a fair trial because every Trump administration official decided to basically scream, oh, we're going to slam dunk on this guy already. We've already determined that he's guilty. He's guilty. And there's no need for a trial. Well, that becomes a pretty big freaking problem if it comes down to trying to be neutral before the trial begins. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Time is running out. Don't miss Doris Hines closes October 12th at History Theater in St. Paul. This electrifying world premiere celebrates the extraordinary life of Minneapolis jazz legend Doris Hines with her music, her courage, and her lasting influence on the Twin Cities and beyond. Through unforgettable performances and live jazz, the show honors a woman who sang with the greats and inspired generations. Seats are going fast and discounts are available for students, seniors, and veterans. Learn more at historytheater.com. That's historytheater.com.
Hi, it's Penny from Nightingale in Minneapolis. Since 2012, we've been your go-to dining spot near 26th and Lyndale in South Minneapolis. Indulge in classics like our scallops, steak tartare, Nightingale burger, and the irresistible chocolate pot de creme. Chef Carrie keeps it fresh with seasonal dishes. We have craft cocktails and curated wines for anyone's taste. And Mondays mean half-price wine bottles. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with the full menu until midnight. Join us at Nightingale where good times and great flavors come together.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Tom. There's a war being waged on clean energy. A bill in Congress could eliminate the 30% federal tax credit for solar by the end of 2025. And once it's gone, it may never come back. Fossil fuel giants and their MAGA friends in Washington want to kill green energy. But you can fight back. Going solar with All Energy Solar isn't just smart, it's a form of resistance. You choose where your money goes, not to utility companies, not to fossil fuel billionaires, but toward clean, renewable power for your home. A system from All Energy Solar works in Minnesota year-round because it runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the dead of winter, you're generating electricity. And All Energy Solar helps you save with every rebate and incentive available. This is the moment to act. Waiting means risking with this tax credit and giving the upper hand to MAGA Republicans. So get your free consultation today at allenergysolar.com and take back your power.
Adventure is calling. Set sail with Treasure Island at Children's Theatre Company, where danger, discovery, and daring sword fights await. Follow young Jim Hawkins on a journey filled with mysterious maps, buried treasure, and the unforgettable Long John Silver. A legendary story brought to life with stunning visuals, live music, and heart-pounding action. Don't miss Treasure Island, September 9th through October 19th. Tickets at childrenstheatre.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 70, tonight cloudy with a low around 55, and Friday sunny with a high around 66. Make it a night to remember at Crooner's Supper Club. Incredible live music, 4-star food, handcrafted drinks, and first-class service, all in the classic supper club setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com.
I was thinking about my time in space. I was thinking about the human race in the age of tenderness and rage. Had me kicking through the end.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. And, of course, in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Good to have you with us here today. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I've got to go into the boneheaded adultery of this White House administration. Before I do that, let me just get to the latest number here of measles cases is 1,563, which is undoubtedly undercounting the total number. I mean, as a matter of fact, I just typed in measles outbreak, and there are like 20 stories from the last week, particularly out on the East Coast, South Carolina, North Carolina. It sounds like in upstate New York, where there's all of a sudden, 60 kids were exposed to a measles patient like this. It's crazy. So my guess is, and Dr. Joe would be the authority. I mean, he feels as if it's quite a bit higher than 1,500. But even if it is 1,563, we are having the worst year for measles in decades in this country. thanks to Brainworm McGee, aka Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is the once again, the entire point of what he is doing is discrediting actual real science and real medicine so that the government will, at least for a few years, put out basically fraudulent medical advice, which backs up his supplement scheme that he is trying to sell. And he's using this as a grift. That, yeah, you got the measles, but, if you take my, squid eyeball ink tablets, that will ward them off. By the way, doesn't ward off measles. No scientific proof of it. But that's the whole thing. And then, of course, then he'll release the squid eyeball ink report saying, oh, we've had some very positive results from this, even though it's all made up in lies. It's a grift. Him and Dr. Oz are just making sure that for the rest of their lives, their supplements will sell to a specific group of absolute stupid morons who think that they are somehow enlightened. The same guys that sit there and say, raw milk is the healthiest thing you can drink. It's like, okay, but everyone drank raw milk when the average age of life was 25. Okay, just FYI, no one was pasteurizing back then. And a lot of people seem to die, especially of digestive issues. Heck, was it Zachary Tyler? President Tyler died of bad cream. That was what, 1850s? There you go. Hey, that was such a healthy time. Did you see how healthy he looked when he died? He looked radiant. So much healthier. Anyway, Stupid Pants, a.k.a. Brainworm McGee, a.k.a. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has come up with something even dumber than before. Now, this is on point with The Onion, who had a headline of him storming a candy company at the beginning of his term saying, show me where your autism is. It's kind of, this is where we're at right now. Health and Human Services idiot Robert F. Kennedy Jr. suggested that circumcised children were at greater risk for autism. Yeah, if you're saying to yourself, wow, that sounds made up. Yeah, it does. It sounds like he has made it up completely. But don't worry, Trump backs him up here. During a White House cabinet meeting on Thursday, he said this in front of the rest of the cabinet. I mean, who I guess were all having, a yogurt and snack bar. It does. That is actually a good way to think about them. Think about the cabinet meetings basically being a kindergarten snack time. That's great. We got Dunkables today. Yay! Sit down, Secretary of Agriculture. Kennedy reiterate earlier calls for pregnant women to not take Tylenol. This morning before I came in here, somebody showed me a TikTok video of a pregnant woman at 8 months pregnant. The secretary told President Trump, and she is saying blank Trump and gobbling Tylenol with her baby in her placenta. At the level of Trump derangement syndrome has now left political landscapes and is now the realm of pathology. This is not the dispositive. It's not proof. We're not the studies to make the proof. He said in a link back between Tylenol and autism. And any mother who is taking this stuff during pregnancy just to get back at Donald Trump is doing something that is pathological. Okay, once again, it's the Tylenol thing is once again, it's made up. That's not real. That is not real. But now, yeah, Trump argued that when a baby is born, don't give it Tylenol. There's 2 studies that show children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism. Kennedy offered, it's highly likely because they're being given Tylenol. Okay, I hate to bring up this thing for you. When a baby is circumcised, it is a baby. Okay. You're not giving it 2 pills of Tylenol. Okay. There's probably some specialized medication through an IV bag that they're giving the child. Okay. You thinking that the child's getting, that he's knocking it back with, I guess, a shot of whiskey or something like that because it's a baby. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. This is the guy in charge of our healthcare right now. Unbelievable. The president insisted there is a tremendous amount of proof or evidence, I would say, as a non-doctor, but I've studied this a long time ago. Did you? Did you? Dude, you sleeping with underage girls does not make you a pediatric specialist, okay? I'm just going to let you know. I don't care how Epstein framed it for you, dude. You're a pedophile. Stop. I was a real estate developer. He said, it bothered me that it seemed to be getting worse. It's just, you cannot trust a damn thing out of the Health and Human Services Department. You cannot. I saw a TikTok video. He walks in and saw a TikTok video and says he apparently is trying to portray that as, see, that's the Journal of American Medicine. You know, it's the Journal of Pediatrics. I don't know. The damage has been done to the Health and Human Services. Majority of Americans disapprove of the HHS, his job performance, and federal government-involved vaccine policy. In addition, the vast majority of those surveys have heard the unproven claims made by Trump and Kennedy, and both in late September about taking acetaminophen, also known as Tylenol, during pregnancy, could be one possible environmental factor in a child later being diagnosed with autism. A total of 77% of the people polled say they knew the statements, though whether people believe the claims, which had yet to be established by the medical community, varied. Only 4% of the population of those surveyed said it is definitely true that taking Tylenol during pregnancy increases the risk of a child developing autism. 53% said the truth is definitively false. And then 30% said it was probably false. So 65% in this country are saying, nope, this is not real. But you see, I have to make sure you understand this about the things here, that the reason why 4% is a dangerous thing, because 4% is, it's going to be, let's say 330 million. Done. All right. Times 0.04 equals 13 million people. All right. 13 million people is 4% of the population. That's all that Robert F. Kennedy and Dr. Oz are talking to. They want those 13 million people to buy their supplements. And if 13 million people are buying their supplements, they'll be one of the most successful medical supplement companies. Could be the most successful in the country's history. I mean, that would be an insane amount of value. And you see, that's it. They don't care about the other 96% of people who are skeptical to outright laughing in their face about this. They only care about that 4% because that's the 4% that's going to carry them to wealth after they are out of office, waving their pardon, saying, you can't hold me accountable for all those deaths. You think that's a lie? Nope. 65% said that it's either probably or definitely false to say that taking acetaminophen during pregnancy increases the chance of a child developing autism. The survey showed 59% somewhat or strongly disapprove of how Kennedy is handling his new role at the top of the country's public health infrastructure. A slightly higher number, 62%, said somewhat or strongly disapprove of the United States vaccine policy. A similar trend emerged when those polled were broken into political parties. 88% of Democrats, 67% of independents, and 31% of Republicans somewhat or strongly disapprove of the vaccine policy. I can tell you right now, that's Trump at some point is going to have to rein him in, because if the Democrats start picking up all the independents, there's no way in the planet even with the rigged systems that they're trying to put into place, are going to be able to win. This is why I don't believe that 2026 election is going to happen. The survey shows a declining share of Americans have faith in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to provide trusted information about vaccines compared with previous polls. A total of 63% of the respondents 2 years ago trusted the CDC on vaccines. That is now down to 50%. And that is in 9 months. That is in 9 months. They've lost 13 points on this. And once again, measles are going everywhere. We haven't talked about COVID. I haven't talked about, avian flu. I haven't talked about any of that. That is going everywhere right now. And yeah, it's a grift. Everything about this administration is either repressed, angry, white racist dudes who feel it's my turn to make up for all the failures in my life, or people who are basically looking and saying, how much money can I literally put in my pocket before they come with me with pitchforks and torches? That's all this administration seems to be at this point. And to put somebody as stupid and as horrible as RFK Jr. in charge, I mean, I hope people sue him in civil court eventually for the deaths of their children. And him arguing, well, I was doing this as my job and capacity, and then say, the fact that he will have to basically prove his point. I mean, I guess do I dare dream of any level of accountability at any point with this administration? Speaking of which, just one other person I want to mention, the Zig Heil guy himself, Elon Musk. After all the hoopla and bragging about the massive amount of federal spending that they would cease to exist after the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, took a chainsaw to it, the Wall Street Journal has reported, actually, spending went up. Oh, God. As the Journal's Richard Rubin and Anthony DeBarros reported on Thursday, when billionaire Elon Musk pitched the idea of the new but unofficial government agency, he boasted there was $2 trillion in savings that to be made and had a plan to make it happen. And that was the beginning of January, according to the Journal. Spending numbers today tell a different story regarding that $2 trillion, not even close. The Journal reports DOGE did claw back some grants and fire some probationary employees, and some savings will show up later as federal workers who accepted deferred resignation drop off government payrolls in fiscal 2026. But that hasn't changed the big picture so much. Total spending, excluding interest, rose $220 billion, or 4% for the entire fiscal year. The total would have been worse, but Donald Trump's administration took an early write-off of $131 billion in non-cash spending reductions still to come. The report added, excluding that, non-interest spending would have risen by $351 billion for the entire year, and total spending would have risen by $55 billion in September compared with a year earlier. Yeah, guess what? None of this is real. This is all about show, but it's, once again, if you're a Trump voter, you're sitting there saying, he saved trillions and trillions of dollars. No, he didn't. Oh, and by the way, that truck outside is there to haul all your stuff away from your farm, sir. You just lost that thanks to Trump's tariff policy on your soybeans. Good luck with all that. I mean, you got a lot of extra free time now. More time for you to sit and stew in Fox News, huh? Off you go. 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hey everyone, this is Ellie Krug. Join Twin Cities Quorum as they celebrate their 31st annual National Coming Out Day luncheon. This inspirational and transformational event gives voice to the power of living openly, honestly, and with authenticity at work, in our families, in our faith communities, and across our lives. The National Coming Out Day luncheon serves as a celebration of who we are individually and together. We hope you will join us as our community celebrates the strength, courage, and wisdom of LGBTQ plus and allied people who have braved their own unique journeys to now live openly and authentically and with pride. Reserve your tickets today for Friday, October 10th. This year's National Coming Out Day luncheon will be at the Hyatt Regency, Minneapolis. The Marketplace Expo opens at 10 a.m. and the luncheon will begin at 11:45 a.m. Tickets are available to members for $70 or non-members for $90. Learn more and purchase your tickets in the events section at TwinCitiesQuorum.com on the events page. That's Twin Cities, QUORUM.com.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Hi, this is Laura with Food Freedom Radio, and I invite you to discover 2 local grocery stores with a global fare. Market Fresh, south of Rosedale, carries fresh vegetables, quality meats, seafood, and a wide variety of grocery staples, all in a welcoming store. Shanghai Wholesale Market is in the St. Paul Midway area, and it's a food warehouse open to the public. Shanghai Wholesale carries more than 500 types of noodles. And frankly, it's time for Minnesotans to learn that pasta is a little bit more than spaghetti noodles and tuna casserole. There's sweet potato, bean, rice, fresh, frozen, rye. It's a paradise for those seeking gluten-free pasta. Also, both Market Fresh and Shanghai Wholesale Market seek to buy local, so you can look for local quail eggs, unique cheeses, and Minnesota-made tofu. Open the door to food abundance. Discover Market Fresh, your local Asian food store just south of Rosedale, and Shanghai Wholesale Market, your local international food warehouse north of Menards in the St. Paul Midway area.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. All right, so I got a lot to get through for this last segment here because I do want to do an update on the economy, which is in the verge of collapsing. And I guess this is the smile file in these days. And in positive news, the economy is on fire and crashing hard into the earth. It is kind of scary to see this. And once again, I know who I am. Brett, you know who I am, right?
I think I do.
Should I be the voice of reason on the economy? Should I be the one saying, what are you guys doing? Should I be the one that's doing this?
I think there's generally people who should be more qualified.
Well, I mean, it'd be like getting it from Bluey. I mean, I'm SpongeBob. And by the way, just to let you know, the bond market's untrustworthy. I don't know if that, that's kind of where I'm at. Apparently, the holidays are going to cost a lot more. The U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods mean the world's largest Christmas tree manufacturer will face an extra 57.6% tariff on the Christmas trees coming over this year. We brought in about 25% less products, said Chris Butler, CEO of the National Tree Company, when speaking to CNBC about the matter. We're definitely going to see a short supply this year, so your customer and you're in the market for Christmas goods this year will definitely act now to get ahead of the curve. Because nothing says holiday spirit more than a Christmas tree in your house before Halloween. He explained the Black Friday is usually the big day for purchases of Christmas decor, and the trees are just scratching the surface in the small amount of items being imported. The reductions in imports means such items will likely sell out quickly. You get ahead of that, so buy now, buy early. That's what I say to the customers. Of course you do. He went on to say that prices will increase by at least 10% as a result of Trump's trade war. Happy holidays. The war on Christmas apparently is real. How did I ever say that was fake? Oh, now it's the war on Christmas is happening because Donald Trump is making it more expensive. And by the way, already some people are speculating the cost of Thanksgiving and the cost of Christmas meals are going to be at least 20 to 25% more than they were last year. Yeah. I declare bankruptcy. Oh, sorry. That's only one part of the economy stew today. This little gem, 22 states are either in recession or on the precipice of a downturn, according to an intriguing analysis from the chief economist from Moody's. The states in contraction are spread around the country from Washington to Virginia to Maine and make about a third of the overall GDP. The problems are driven largely by a mix of slowing immigration, increasing tariffs, and federal job cuts. So, thanks, Donald. Oh, by the way, I should mention where I'm broadcasting right now, 3 states, Illinois, Minnesota, Washington. Yeah, all 3 of us are in there on the verge. And I want to repeat this. This is happening because of the slowing immigration, because we need people to do these jobs, increasing tariffs, Donald Trump, and federal job cuts. The calculation of where things stood in the economy at the end of August, perhaps more useful now as data measures go dark with the federal government shutdown. He created an index looking at the state-level jobs data as well as other inputs, including model industrial production, personal income, and housing stats. The idea was to mimic what the 8-member National Bureau of Economic Research Business Cycle Dating Committee, wow, that's a business card, does when it determines if the company is on recession. While employment is the most important indicator, it's only one of many. But needless to say, yeah, not good. And finally here, I got to add this too, because even though our Federal Reserve Bank, and I cannot express this enough, any economic statistic coming from the Trump White House or one of the federal government agencies that Trump is in charge of cannot be trusted. It cannot. You should not be listening to any of them. They're lying. And as a matter of fact, even with their lying, there was reports of the jobs report they were going to release last Friday, I think it was going to be astronomically bad. Just really, really bad. A risk of a sharp market correction amid an AI bubble, risks and political pressure on the Federal Reserve has increased, according to the latest meeting summary from not the U.S. federal government stats from the economy here, the Federal Reserve in the United States. Nope, but from the Bank of England. The Bank of England is sounding alarms that the Fed isn't warning investors they are underpricing large risks to the bull market. Uncertainty around the global risk environment increases the risk that markets have not fully priced in possible adverse outcomes, and the sudden correction could occur. Any of these risks crystallize. The IMF managing director, I'm not even going to try that name. That's a European thing. Mirrored these comments yesterday, saying today's valuations heading towards the levels we saw during the businesses in the internet 25 years ago. So basically, they're talking about when the big tech bubble happened and stocks across the board dropped fast. That was when we were talking about. This contrasts with what San Francisco Federal President Mary Daly told Axios in an interview early this week. I do not want to caution us against thinking all bubbles are financial. I don't see many signs that is the case. So you have every other international gauging agency looking at the United States and saying this is bad. You have half the investors in this country saying, oh, there's a massive AI bubble right now. None of that matters. And every economic number that comes on out, every single one of them is not bad. It's horrific. It is terrifying. Everything from the price of the American dollar to the farm foreclosures to the trade debacle that we've got. And you have a Fed president in San Francisco saying it's wonderful right now. I guess maybe you shouldn't. That's kind of what you should expect from San Francisco, though. The Bank of England outlined the risks around the U.S. stocks and the Fed. Valuation concerns, equity valuations are comparable to the peak of the dot-com bubble, meaning any AI-led price adjustment could drag down the entire market. Yee. Concentration risks. The top 5 members of the SP 500 are nearly 30% of the market share right now for the entire index. That is not a good sign. That is not a good sign. Consumer weakness. The committee also noted increasing signs of stress in the American consumer. Artificial intelligence. Any material blocks to AI progress could harm valuations, therefore the broader market. And the central bank independence. Operation policy independence, basically because it's not independent anymore because Trump is trying to take it over. Guess what? All these are huge red flags. That S&P number is terrifying because, what if 3 of those companies go down? Yikes. Chicago, Seattle, try to have a good day. We'll be back tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
So an atheist, a Christian, and a Buddhist walk into a church. There's no punchline. That's just what happens every Sunday at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. It's all the thoughtful reflection, community, and warmth of a Sunday service without religious doctrine. Curious? Find out what we're all about. Join us for Sundays Reimagined at First Unitarian Society or live stream at firstunitarian.org. Think, outside the pew.
Your time is precious. Why are you still mowing your own lawn? I'm Alex Knorr, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. At Buzzcut Mowing, I offer weekly mowing, leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I work hard so you can relax and enjoy time with family and friends. Call today and I'll handle the rest. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
Come see the trained chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Celebrations today over a deal struck between Israel and Hamas to end the war in Gaza. Palestinians in Deir al-Balah, while Sam Mednick reports Israelis turned out before dawn in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv.
What we know is that 20 of the living hostages will be released in the coming days. The bodies of the others will also be released after that. Israel's cabinet is expected to vote, but there are still a lot of uncertainties about this deal. It's unclear if Hamas will disarm, a key Israeli demand. It's also unclear who will govern Gaza the day after. But this is a major breakthrough after 2 years of war. The families here say they're absolutely elated. They are praising President Trump for pushing this through.
At the White House, President Trump said the hostages should be released early next week.
That'll be a day of joy. I'm going to try and make a trip over. We're going to try and get over there. And we're working on the timing, the exact timing. We're going to go to Egypt, where we'll have a signing, an additional signing. We've already had a signing representing me.
Still, Israeli strikes continued on northern Gaza today, the health ministry reporting at least 11 Palestinians killed. The state of Illinois is urging a judge to order the National Guard to stand down in the Chicago area. The state calls the deployment a constitutional crisis. A Department of Justice lawyer says Chicago's rife with tragic lawlessness. Federal regulators have opened yet another investigation into Tesla's full self-driving technology. This after dozens of incidents in which the cars ran red lights or drove on the wrong side of the road, sometimes crashing into other vehicles. Wall Street's rally took another breather. The S&P shed about 0.3% from its all-time high, the Nasdaq less than 0.1%, while the Dow dropped 243 points, 0.5%. And Tropical Storm Raymond has formed in the Eastern Pacific, the third system now off the western coast of Mexico. This is AP News.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 70, tonight cloudy with a low around 55, and Friday sunny with a high around 66. Make it a night to remember at Crooner's Supper Club. Incredible live music, 4-star food, handcrafted drinks, and first-class service, all in the classic supper club setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Thursday. Good to have you with us here today. Matt, Brett here, hopefully going to be joined by Taya Ming from the Children's Theater Company. The Enormous Crocodile, the musical, is going to be over at the Children's Theater Company. It is going to be playing, and it sounds like a hoot. Good fun. Taya Ming is playing the crocodile, and this is after a Roald Dahl book. I mean, Roald Dahl is it's amazing how many books he did. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, the BFG, James and the Giant Peach, The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Just so many books that he did. And it is amazing that they've been able to develop as many of these as possible, and that they've done as well as they have, because I think it's wonderful. And so we're hoping she will join us here. It runs now until November 23rd. Roald Dahl's The Enormous Crocodile, the musical. It is, once again, tickets available at the Children's Theater Company. So hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with her. Brett, the Wild start their season with a brand new, very wealthy Russian on our line, in Kirill Kaprizov.
Brand new wealthy Russian. I thought we were going a different direction there.
Vlad Putin. Well, the way he plays in that exhibition game where they basically no hockey player tries to even stop him, and he scores like 12 goals himself. Yeah, you ever see that? I would only hope we'd have him. He's unstoppable.
Well, it's convenient to play hockey when you're a dictator. No one ever checks you. You can score as many goals as you want.
Bring a gun on the ice. No one's. It's like it looked like a legal hit to me. No, not that wealthy Russian. No, this is Kirill Kaprizov. Who? Okay, so the question for you, you know sports a little bit better than I do. Okay, so McConnor, or the kid out of Edmonton.
McDavid, yeah.
McDavid, Connor McDavid. He actually signed for less, and he's a better player. I'm sorry, he is. And then that guy down in Vegas, who's really good, signed for less. Did we get robbed?
I have to see when those guys signed their contracts, because
they're just after.
Oh, really? Okay, I was wondering if inflation had something to do with it. I mean, it does with these contracts where they just exponentially increase. Even 10 years ago, this contract would have been nuts. But yeah, that does seem a little steep on the price. Kaprizov's good, but he's sort of injury prone, which
he's injury prone, and we haven't gotten out of the first round of the playoffs. And this is my fear about this whole thing. I think the league is turning into a league where there's a handful of teams that really have a chance at it. Vegas and Florida and Colorado and Edmonton, and the rest of us it's not nearly as much. They got to do something. And I mean, it's great you have the highest paid player in the league on the team, but you got to do something. You're at St. Louis tonight. Their home game is Saturday, I believe it is. If I remember correctly.
That one I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's Saturday. We'll double check that when we come on back. But yeah, there you go. Wild start their season to another first round elimination. Get excited for the team, folks.
What a tradition.
What a tradition. Hey, we barely made the playoffs, and goodbye playoffs. Minnesota Wild hockey. Catch it. All righty. Let's turn attention. Actually, let's go over to The Enormous Crocodile, the musical. Roald Dahl, Book has been brought to the stage. It's at the Children's Theater Company. It runs until November 23rd. Joining us is Taya Ming. Am I saying that wrong? Is that right, Taya?
Taya.
Taya. Thank you very much, Taya. Taya Ming is joining us as the enormous crocodile herself in the production. She's kind enough to take some time today to talk to us about the production. Hey, Taya, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. First of all, as I can tell, I mean, is this your first time in Minneapolis here?
It most definitely is.
All right. You're good. It does take a turn come November. Just FYI, it's really pretty right now, but it does take a little bit of a turn. Starts getting a little brisk out there. Okay.
I have heard.
How long have you been with this the Roald Dahl company? It sounds like, I mean, they've been bringing a lot of his books. I mean, and we talked about his books. My God, does he have a collection? Bringing some of his books to the stage has got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. We started this company in July, but this story has had a life twice before. And I'm lucky enough to be croc number 3 in the legacy of the crocs.
and this is the first time you've brought this to the United States?
Most definitely. And it won't be the last.
Oh, I don't think it will. But, well, I mean, first of all, the author himself, he has a bit of a he's got a collection, and so it's got to be fun. I mean, this production, to bring it to the stage. Talk about that a little bit, because obviously taking an established book and having to rethink it for the stage, how did that go?
Well, you can liken it to the way people perform Shakespeare today. His work stays the same, but we just make it a little bit more accessible for the audiences that we're showing it to. And that's what the writers did for The Enormous Crocodile. And then obviously you add all the puppets, you add the music and the choreography, and then you get The Enormous Crocodile.
You said something there that when I've talked to about children's theater productions, my sister-in-law taught theater out in New England for many years. And she said, if the Shakespeare thing, the reason why certain children's theater companies are just so much more successful and productions are so much better is they treat it just like it's Hamlet, Macbeth, any of these things. You treat it just like this is a big deal and this is a big production. And I think that by taking it seriously and putting on a serious production, although of The Enormous Crocodile, you end up creating a far more approachable and likable product for the kids. I think that it works. It translates just perfectly, I think, for the kids.
That's exactly what it is. Something amazing about this team is we always say we have to give the kids more instead of less. I don't think we give kids enough credit for how much they know and how much they understand. So giving them more encourages them to think more and to strategize, and whilst watching, figure out what's happening. And it allows them to be bigger in the brain, I guess.
Well, absolutely it does. And I think it does. It creates just as you said it creates the imagination. You are creating something there. I mean, and let's face it, the scourge of our society at times are these glowing rectangles we all can carry around with us all the time. To be able to take a child out, and whether that's a good book or a good production like this, I think it does so much more for the development of a child to be able to experience live and then let their brains soak it in like a sponge.
Exactly, because I still remember the first time I watched my first theatre show, and that has stuck with me. And I'm only 26, but I carry that memory with me. So that's what we're trying to do for the kids who come and watch this show.
Talk about your approach on this, because obviously being within the source material when it comes to children's theater and productions like this, and obviously you're dealing with one of the great authors of children's books that ever lived, period. You talk about the approach of this. Is this something where it's now kind of become your focus as an actress, that you want to look at producing stuff that is geared more for the kids because of that inspirational element?
I thoroughly enjoy children's theatre. I think it's always something I've wanted to do because of the impact it had on me as a child. And luckily, this is my second piece of work where I've worked so closely with young people, but it definitely won't be the last, because I think for me personally, the arts saved me. I don't know what I would do without the arts. So if I can save somebody else, or even just introduce them and allow them to have a bit of escapism for an hour, then I'm okay with that.
Taya, if I can ask, what was the first play you saw that was so inspiring? Can I ask that?
The Lion King on the West End.
Oh my! I bet that was that kind of, for every child in that audience, probably blew their mind.
Exactly, and it still blows my mind to this day.
When you look at this, you've been producing. Okay, let's talk about the play itself, because obviously I don't want to give it too much of the story. But the enormous crocodile. Tell us about what the story is about.
Well, to put it short, there's a hungry crocodile looking for something or someone to eat. But luckily, the overriding message of the show is about bravery, standing up for what you know is wrong. And sometimes you might not be able to do it alone, but you have to sometimes look at the people around you and figure out how we're going to make the right decisions for other people.
You play the crocodile.
I do.
Yeah. Talk about. I mean, obviously, with the source material, there's got to be a lot of fun approach to it. Obviously you're a crocodile, but talk about that. Obviously you went back and read the book again. How did that impact you as your presentation of the character on the stage?
Well, funnily enough, I actually didn't know the story before I auditioned. So reading it and realizing the journey of Croc was a wild ride. But booking the job and getting into the room, it not only required me to just do my job as an actor, but it also made me pull on some skills that I maybe never had tried before, like puppetry. The puppets are incredible, but they were hard. They were hard to use. And not only am I remembering the lines, remembering the music, remembering the choreo, I'm also desperately trying to get into what it feels like to be a crocodile. And I guess to an adult, you could probably look at the show and be like, oh, that looks a bit silly. But actually, we take it so seriously to the point where we even think about the breath of an animal.
Really? And
Yeah.
did you have somebody working with you on the stage team that was saying, okay, you're not breathing like a croc really should be breathing or something?
Yeah, definitely. Our puppetry director, Toby, was working with us constantly. And we also had our associate puppet director, who was there for us to just sometimes walk us through, sometimes show us how it's done, sometimes even pull up a video of a real crocodile and show you what they do when they're about to attack.
You talk about puppetry. How much experience with puppetry did you have before this production?
None whatsoever.
Really?
I got to test it out in the audition and I just went with what felt right, and I guess they liked it.
From the images I've seen of the production, it's once again, it's not like, like standard, some people think of puppets like Sesame Street sort of thing. It's like this. You go back to the Lion King. It's these large puppets and features that are you're using and you're manipulating there. That must have been difficult to look at. It's like, obviously, I think good actors can look at something like that and say, okay, here's how I'm going to go at it. But I think for, people who are not actors, it's the idea of picking up something like that and saying, okay, I've got to create with this. That's got to be amazing.
It is amazing. It's also very hard.
Yeah.
And I think
by all means, I could not do that in a million years.
No, I don't think people say enough how hard this job is. It's very hard. And there were some times where I was questioning, can I do this? But the team was so incredible. They coached me through everything. They also made sure I was looking after my body, because it does take a toll, like any other performer. But once I figured it out and figured out that language of those puppets, it doesn't even feel like I have one in my hand.
Really. Will it feel weird when you're done? Well, and obviously, hopefully, you're going to be doing this for a while here. Are you doing any shows after Minneapolis, St. Paul here? Are you going to be going anywhere else in the country?
We are. We're heading over to LA for a month, so that will be great.
When you get done with this, if you're married to a character, I remember I had a woman, Monet Sabel, who sang in the Carole King musical. And and she was brilliant. I mean, she sounded exactly like it. And she was married to that forever. And then I saw her over at the Guthrie, and she did Cabaret over there, and it was just completely different. I'm friends with her, and she basically said, yeah, getting done with Carole King and basically moving on to a different character. Sometimes that can be very hard. Is it one of those things where it's you are able to disconnect from the character at times, where you basically it doesn't feel like it's kind of overwhelming at a point?
Most definitely. I think it's a great skill to be able to disconnect. I think it's a healthy skill as well. It's something I learned over COVID, actually, because I was training whilst COVID was happening, and school just closed one day and we weren't allowed to do the show that we'd been working towards. And that's when I realized that sometimes things end, and that's okay. The character may live on in people's minds and memories, but we move on. And I think of it like maybe a badge of honor. I can always wear the badge for the rest of my life, even if I'm not doing the show anymore.
So I want to ask you, because obviously you perform this in England, correct?
Yes.
So you brought it here. You're first in Minneapolis. It's been open since the 1st of October. Have you been surprised by the response from the American audience at all, and the kids here? Is there something that you feel that they're seeing that just was, wow, we never even thought about that, or we never saw that perspective?
I think the kids here are given a lot more permission to just enjoy.
Okay.
And I think that's great. I think it's great. I think sometimes you can find some schools, whether that's here or back in the UK, where they get to the theatre and the teachers say, shh, make sure you be quiet, behave. But actually, who are we to police how we experience art?
Yes.
Unless it's going to become difficult and dangerous, then of course, let the kids be quiet and sit down. But if they want to get up and dance and move and sing, I need that as an actor. I thrive on watching the audience enjoy themselves.
I mean, it sounds like a kind of a German art house thing to do something called the enormous crocodile, and the entire audience of children sit there quietly and just stare and don't even say anything.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's good. You're in a good place for it, because I'm sure you're getting a lot of the exciting of the kids. And I know Children's Theater Company. I've taken my kids there multiple times. I'm sure you're getting that immediate response and feedback from the audience. Like that's kind of nice.
Most definitely.
I want to remind people this plays. It's going to be playing over at the Children's Theater Company until November 23rd. The Enormous Crocodile, the musical. You can get tickets online. I'll make sure I get the link out a little bit later on. Taya Ming is once again the Enormous Crocodile in the production. Well, thank you for coming here. If you need let me know if you need some restaurant recommendations. I know this town pretty well. I'm more than happy to help you with that. But thank you very much for bringing this over here. Thank you very much to the entire crew and everyone for coming on over. And I hope you all the best as you do this run.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Taya Ming is once again joining us. The Enormous Crocodile, the musical. Children's Theater Company is where you'll find it. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday.
I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason.
Hey, it's Tom. There's a war being waged on clean energy. A bill in Congress could eliminate the 30% federal tax credit for solar by the end of 2025. And once it's gone, it may never come back. Fossil fuel giants and their MAGA friends in Washington want to kill green energy. But you can fight back. Going solar with All Energy Solar isn't just smart, it's a form of resistance. You choose where your money goes, not to utility companies, not to fossil fuel billionaires, but toward clean, renewable power for your home. A system from All Energy Solar works in Minnesota year-round because it runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the dead of winter, you're generating electricity. And All Energy Solar helps you save with every rebate and incentive available. This is the moment to act. Waiting means risking with this tax credit and giving the upper hand to MAGA Republicans. So get your free consultation today at allenergysolar.com and take back your power.
Find a wide selection of outdoor hearth products at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Whether you prefer wood or gas, Woodland Stoves has the fire to fit your home. Pizza aficionados know nothing matches masonry oven baking for capturing flavor and nutrition. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can easily install one in your home or business. Enthusiasts use these ovens year-round for bread making, wood roasting, even grilling.
The mission and passion of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces is to make the fire work for you. The way humans relate to fire is primordial. We have used fire to warm our bodies, cook our meals, and kindle our spirits. Our team has the know-how to do this in a clean-burning and environmentally smart way. Visit our store and experience the diversity. We have over 35 working units on display at the corner of Riverside and East Franklin. See us online at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that fits and works for you.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
This is Alex Knorr from Buzz Cut Mowing, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. I take the hard work off your plate with weekly mowing. I also offer leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I'll keep your lawn beautiful so you can enjoy your weekends with the people who matter most. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Taya Meng, she is a delight. She's 26. What the hell happened to me, man? God, it's amazing when you get to talk to people who, just in that 10 minutes we talked with her, a little more than 10 minutes we talked with her, you can tell that this is, at 26 years old, a seasoned actor already, and she's really talented. And her smile is one of the best I've seen in a long. That smile is addictive. Now I get. She must have come in for that audition, and they're like, okay, how do we not make her the enormous crocodile? She has a great presence. She's wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. I could picture that too at the beginning, where she's saying how it's an enormous crocodile who's hungry, looking to eat anything, anyone, and kind of their tone, and then switching up as the crocodile becomes more friendly as the show goes on.
I can't get over the idea of her description of British children seeing a production and sitting there silently. You know, like, what is going on here? Do they not appreciate the mallet to the head bit I just did? You know, that sort of thing. That's fine. Okay, so once again, Children's Theater Company, The Enormous Crocodile, the musical, playing there with that crew before they head out to LA. They are going to be here until the end of November. I think November 23rd, if I remember correctly. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. I want to make sure I mention this because obviously it's been a bit of news here, because Republicans refuse to, even though it's the gun stupid. It's the only connecting factor in every shooting in this country since Columbine has been guns. It's the guns. The guns were used to kill a lot of kids, or shoot a lot of kids and kill 2 children at Annunciation. They were used to kill Speaker Hortman. They're used around this country every single day in mass shootings. And the motivations of the individual shooting range from psychotic episode to angry because somebody cut me off on the roadway. You cannot say mental health is the cure-all. What you can say is limiting the guns. And who was it? Was it Peter Frampton? I think Peter Frampton, of all people, Peter Frampton put out a post where he's saying that in England, they had a mass shooting. They immediately banned them. That was some 20 plus years ago. And since then, they have not had one in their country. We have sometimes 3 a day in this insane asylum that is the United States of America. And it's a it's insanity where the Republicans keep throwing more and more guns at it, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And the reality they do not want to acknowledge is that it's the guns, that no one could be doing this much damage with a bow and arrow or a pipe or a hammer. Reminder, the shooting that happened at the Mormon church out in Michigan, the guy rammed his car into the church. That didn't do anything. It was when he got out with the gun that did all the damage. It's the guns. But once again, the Republicans have said they would rather have mass shootings of children than common sense gun regulation. It's that simple. They are more comfortable with mass shootings of children than common sense gun regulation. In the wake of the Annunciation Church shooting, hundreds of faith leaders from across Minnesota are calling on Governor Walz to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. The delegation, made up of Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and interfaith leaders, delivered the letter to Walz and legislative leaders on Wednesday on behalf of more than 700 faith leaders in the state. The ban on assault weapons is not a partisan issue. It's a moral one, the letter wrote. These weapons are designed for the battlefield, not for our schools and churches. They are tools of war, not peace. Their only purpose is to inflict mass casualties, to maim, to destroy. Protecting lives is a sacred duty. While we cannot erase the violence that's already occurred, we can make it far more difficult for someone to obtain these weapons tomorrow. Absolutely. And I want to remind people that because every Republican comes out there and goes, well, Ma and Pa and I went out hunting. This isn't about hunting weapons, you dolts, you gun kooks. It's about weapons that when somebody sat down with a pencil and a piece of graph paper to start designing this, they designed it to kill other human beings as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And you think everyone should have more of them. You morons. You are perfectly fine with mass shootings as long as no common sense gun regulations happen. That's on you guys. You are not Christians, by the way. None of you Republicans are Christians, because Jesus would definitively not be on your side here. This is you basically just taking the money from the gun and bullet industry and jamming it in your pockets. Or else you're belligerent beyond belligerent. The effort was organized by Moms Demand Action, Students Demand Action in every town for gun safety. It marks the beginning of 7 days of prayer and action, an event series with faith leaders who will gather every day at 12 noon on the steps of the Minnesota State Capitol to pray and call for action. Walz wants to call a special session to discuss gun control legislation. However, Republicans and Democrats are in impasse over what measures will be discussed. No, the Republicans do not want to discuss any kind of common sense gun regulation, and so henceforth there's no point in having a meeting. Stop trying to say, boy, oh boy, is this a complicated... No, the Republicans are for mass shootings as long as it doesn't mean any kind of common sense gun regulation. The DFL proposal released last week outlined specific areas of focus, including bans on assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, and binary triggers. The governor on Wednesday suggested that there isn't a breakthrough on those negotiations, calling makers to act to St. Paul would not be worth it, which marks a shift from his previous position. We need to get an agreement with this. Walz told reporters, if we're going to go hold a special session on safety in our children and the safety in our streets and safety on gun violence, we need to talk about guns. If the folks who hold veto power over this, which they do because of the makeup of the legislature, if they say that's not going to happen, calling a special session is going to be a waste of money and a waste of time. It is an absolute disgrace that children could be in a church praying and a gunman opens fire and you say, yep, let's make sure that people like that have as many guns as possible. Ban the damn assault weapons. And by the way, Utke, the hell with you, you dim bulb. My God, you sit there and they're not assault weapons. Well, I'll tell you what. And he did. He basically went to a family, and I got the proof of this, by the way. That was indeed his letter he sent to the family members of the victims of the Annunciation shooting. He actually sent a letter out there basically defending the guns. That's the sickest part of this whole thing. There's this element in our country that a mass shooting happens and they want to take a gun and rub it in the face of the victims, saying, you've got to love this. I've just come to the grips that 95% of us could be directly impacted by gun violence in this country. And the Republicans will say, no, we're not going to do anything. That the Republicans, if their own children were part of a mass shooting, would take the side of the guns over their own children. These are broken people, and they're not serious. Oh, we want to focus on mental health. No, you don't. You've had more than enough chances to vote for mental health services, and you guys vote that down all the time. Are you guys down deep inside? I'm asking the question. Down deep inside, are you just giddy every time you see another shooting in the newspaper? I get it. You put on your fake tears and, this is such a horrible thing. But down deep inside, are you just happy about it? Because that's what this whole thing is. We have done it your way now for 20 plus years. We have done it your way for 20 plus years. And the body count is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you guys seem to sit there and yell, great! Psychopaths, man. Ban the assault weapons. It's the guns, stupids. It's the guns. It's the guns. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday.
Hey, everyone. This is Ellie Krug. Join Twin Cities Quorum as they celebrate their 31st annual National Coming Out Day Luncheon. This inspirational and transformational event gives voice to the power of living openly, honestly, and with authenticity at work, in our families, in our faith communities, and across our lives. The National Coming Out Day Luncheon serves as a celebration of who we are individually and together. We hope you will join us as our community celebrates the strength, courage, and wisdom of LGBTQ plus and allied people who have braved their own unique journeys to now live openly and authentically and with pride. Reserve your tickets today for Friday, October 10th. This year's National Coming Out Day Luncheon will be at the Hyatt Regency, Minneapolis. The Marketplace Expo opens at 10 a.m. and the luncheon will begin at 11:45 a.m. Tickets are available to members for $70 or non-members for $90. Learn more and purchase your tickets in the events section at TwinCitiesQuorum.com on the events page. That's TwinCitiesQuorum.com.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 70, tonight cloudy with a low around 55, and Friday sunny with a high around 66. Make it a night to remember at Crooner's Supper Club. Incredible live music, 4-star food, handcrafted drinks, and first-class service, all in the classic supper club setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Dynamo Dave is up in Duluth. He wanted to chime in today. Welcome on in, Dynamo.
Oh, thanks for taking my call, Matt. Hey, so we had that assassination that occurred in Minnesota. I'm not. Was she the state senator?
State House rep, the Democratic Speaker of the Minnesota House.
Yeah, and then as well as a couple that were also part of that. Who
the Senator the Hoffmans, the Senator Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were also shot. Yeah, as well. Yes.
Right, and then he had a hit list. Do we know what kind of weapons that guy was using? In that?
Oh yeah. They got all his weapons. That's for sure. They do have those. It's the sad part is that the first thing these gun kooks do is they run out and they say, I need to go buy that same gun so that they can go point at it like a freaking psychopath and say, that's the same kind of gun that was used to kill Speaker Hortman. That is the whole thing. I mean, it's just this really creepy culture that exists out there with these gun kooks.
Yeah. And so you would think that Governor Wallace could bring that issue up, along with what he's trying to bring up, forward. It seems like it's more aimed at just the mass shooting. And, what are these Republicans giving for an excuse for those assassinations and attempted assassinations?
Well, it's just, and Dave, thank you very much. I appreciate your phone call there. The same thing that I'll say is this, is that they say, oh, this is horrible, we should stop this sort of thing. Okay, well then let's ban the guns. Nope. You have to do it some other way. Well, you can't do it some other. They just had a shooting at a nightclub, which was right by City Hall and the police department there in downtown Minneapolis. Apparently, two guys got into an argument, and one of the guys pulled a gun and started firing. And it sounds like there is some, they're trying to track down the individual, but one person died. You guys keep talking about, well, eventually we'll get to a point where the good guy with the gun will have the gun. Well, yeah, if it's not some hothead who gets a few drinks in him and starts firing off rounds because some guy disrespected me. That's not a mental health issue. Are you going to regulate alcohol consumption now too? More? Are you going to say people, I don't know. I do not know what in the world these people think they're going to be able to accomplish when everything they keep trying. I mean, let's just be honest, mental health issues. And God, I've been talking about this because you have the rate of suicides on farmers is going through the roof, that they're actually, a lot of farm groups are getting real proactive about, okay, if you start noticing your neighbor getting really kind of dark, you need to say something to someone. But they don't have enough mental health professionals throughout rural parts of this country at all. I mean, they're grossly understaffed out there, and they're cutting medical coverage everywhere you go in the state, outstate Minnesota. I don't know what in the world. I don't know what in the world you think you're going to be able to do without banning the guns. And so the reality is unless you're for common sense gun controls, then you're pro massacre, and you just save your tears because it means nothing. Your pity, your remorse, your sadness, that's all political. You're just basically trying to lay the foundation that I'm not really a monster. Yeah, you guys are. If you can't see the slaughter of children in a church as a bad thing that needs to be fixed immediately by basically limiting the guns and how they are accessible, then I don't. Yeah, exactly. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Now, two stories I'm trying to keep track of. One, there hasn't been any updates, and I'm a little wary of where that's going. And that is of the fire truck that rolled over multiple times on the road and ended up killing the one fireman. And, the one guy and his son were in the cab and they got injured. Well, they're expecting to press charges because it sounds like there was the thought that there was alcohol involved. They found cans of alcohol near the rolled over fire truck. This is a fire truck that was being used for the homecoming events that was being used to help escort the cross-country runners who were taking the game ball to the stadium or something like that. And you're lucky he apparently hit a mailbox on the road, swerved back onto the road because he wasn't paying attention, and he ended up rolling this fire truck and, killed another firefighter. So far, there haven't been any updates on where that's at, what his blood alcohol level was. And a reminder, it doesn't sound like he willingly did a breathalyzer test. Now, I don't know if he could have. I mean, he was injured pretty severely, apparently, in this accident because he and his kid were not wearing a seatbelt. So maybe he couldn't have done a blood alcohol or a breathalyzer test, but they did take some of his blood. We still have yet to wait to see what the toxicology report shows on that. And the fact that there aren't any charges, I'm a little concerned as of right now. The other story that we've been following is what happened up in White Bear Lake. And it does sound like this might have actually been worse than we are thinking here. An application for a search warrant by the White Bear Lake Police reveals that the 22-year-old accused of sexually assaulting teens while he pretended to be a student at the local high school. He's accused of that. Police officers applied for the search warrant Monday so they could look through suspect Kevin Lubke's phone. In the warrant, the officer said that multiple parents reported possible incidences of sexual assault. Yikes. The school resource officers also investigating claim that Lubke received nude photos from a juvenile girl. Multiple juvenile girls have contacted police to claim the suspect was texting or messaging them on social media. If the warrant is granted, White Bear Lake Police plan to look through Lubecki's texts, social media messages, and photos. The man was not been formally charged as of Wednesday. I would hope that you would be able to get this to look at this if multiple people are saying this happened. In the warrant application, officers said that the parent reported that her daughter recognized a mugshot of Lubecki online. He was known to her. She knew him as KP, a student at White Bear Lake High School. Superintendent Wayne Kazmarak said Lubecki enrolled as a homeless, unoccupied youth. He was enrolled in the school for 19 days. So, yeah, and apparently that is something that you can do in the state of Minnesota. If there is a homeless child that does not have a parental figure around them, that they can be allowed to enroll in the school. Now, I don't think we're this heartless as a society to say, well, nope, that homeless kids can't go to school. Maybe there are some Republicans out there who are, trying to see, non-white homeless kids, maybe, I don't know. But clearly it's something that we need to have another check and balance to prevent something like this from happening again. That whether that's a caseworker or something of that effect that is involved with the student, to where you at least, and for the well-being of the student, that that the student has a safe place to go at night if they're homeless and they don't have a parent around them. I mean, this is and it should be noted, this is a grown adult who took advantage of this application process, not some student that, abused it. This was an adult who knowingly misrepresented himself, allegedly, in this case, to get access to the school. And by the sounds of it, some of the accusations that are being leveled, access to underage children. He presented a birth certificate from another country showing he was 18 years old and eligible for high school enrollment. Through the enrollment process, there was no reason to believe the official birth certificate was fraudulent. The provided birth certificate included authentic watermarking and official stamps and seals. There was no indication that the document was anything less than authentic. So that's kind of the problem that they're running into, is that, if some people saying, well, you should have stopped this, like, how? He put the way that this was presented, it should have, I don't know if there should have been any question here. So there's going to be more on this. Whether or not they file charges remains to be seen. But yeah, this is a whole lot of ugly. And I don't think you want to stop homeless kids from being able to access an education, but at the same time, there's clearly got to be at least one more step, and maybe, like I said, maybe a caseworker with the county involved to ensure that indeed that kid is who they say they are and go from there. We'll have to see. Because once again, this wasn't a kid that was abusing the system. This was an adult who intentionally abused the system to get access to children. 952-946-6205. Allegedly. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. One final story, which is absolutely bonkers, that I got to get to before we end the show. It is the Matt McNeil Show right here on your Thursday.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 5th year, November 7th through the 9th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. There's nothing like Twin Cities Con. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than before. Come see from the Star Wars universe Ahmad Best, Rosario Dawson and Giancarlo Esposito, Brendan Fraser, and the cast of The Mummy, WWE Wrestling Hall of Famers Sting and Mick Foley, and the voice actors from the hit Disney series Phineas and Ferb, plus more guests to be announced. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $50. Kids tickets are just $10 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including a 3-day weekend pass, plus some really cool VIP perks. More guests will be announced. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shambot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at ShambotFamilyDentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
He's greedy. He's scrumptious. He's horrid. Roald Dahl's The Enormous Crocodile the Musical is on stage now through November 23rd at Children's Theater Company, featuring eye-popping puppets, a rich score with great groove, and plenty of mischievous audience interaction. Don't miss the U.S. premiere of the smash UK hit. Get your tickets for The Enormous Crocodile the Musical today at childrenstheater.org.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. All right, I got to try to get through this because this is crazy. A newly filed federal lawsuit alleges that a Minnesota postal worker died after police officers and jail staff ignored clear signs he was suffering a massive stroke, mistaking his medical emergency for drug impairment. Intentionally mistaken, by the sounds of it, intentionally mistaking. The suit filed in district court accuses the city of Eagan, Dakota County of deliberate indifference in the death of a 50-year-old Kingsley Fifi Bimpong, a U.S. Postal Service employee and lawful permanent U.S. resident originally from Ghana. The lawsuit claims arresting officers failed to do a proper screening to determine whether Bimpong was having a stroke or experiencing a drug overdose, and it says jail guards allowed Bimpong to remain helpless on a jail cell floor in his own urine for hours without any medical attention. Wow. On the night of November 16th of last year, Bimpong vanished from his shift at the Eagan Postal Distribution Center after complaining of a headache. At 10:44 p.m., the Eagan police sergeant saw his car driving the wrong way on Pilot Knob Road into incoming traffic and striking a median curb. According to police reports, after being pulled over, Bimpong appeared extremely confused. He couldn't say where he lived or worked, and he thought he was wearing, even though he was wearing a USPS vest and repeatedly said, "I don't know." Officers noted there was no smell of alcohol. Egan officer Martin Jensen, a specifically trained drug and recognition evaluator, was called to assess whether Bim Pong was under the influence of drugs. DRE training provided by the Minnesota State Patrol officers emphasizes distinguishing drug impairment from medical emergencies such as strokes. But the lawsuit alleges Jensen disregarded his training. According to the lawsuit, body camera audio captured him saying in full DRE evaluation, which typically takes about 30 to 45 minutes, would be a whole bunch of time wasted. When another officer questioned whether Bim Pong should be taken to the hospital, Jensen replied, "For what?" Wow. Instead, Bim Pong was arrested for suspected DWI. Mind you, he wasn't drunk. He was black. He had his blood drawn at Egan Police Headquarters and then was transported to the Dakota County Jail. It gets worse, by the way. It gets worse. At the jail, video shows Bim Pong stumbling, unable to complete the booking process. He was placed in a holding cell where he fell, urinated on himself repeatedly, and writhed on the floor. Guards conducting legally mandated well-being checks repeatedly wrote "inmate in cell okay" in the official jail logs, even though he's on the floor urinating on himself. Even though video security showed him sprawled across the floor in his own waste, unable to stand. For more than 3 hours, guy is suffering from a stroke. Not only did they do no medical evaluation, but then they left him in the floor in his own urine for 3 hours. Wow. Correctional officers can be seen walking past the cell while he lay on the floor in obvious distress. The jail nurse was not called until a female guard noted that he was foaming at the mouth and having seizure-like activity. Assuming a drug overdose based on his DWI arrest by the DRE officer who didn't do his damn job, the nurse administered Narcan 3 times without response. When paramedics finally arrived, Bim Pong's blood pressure was measured at a life-threatening 240/216, which indicated hypertensive crisis. His heart was ripping itself apart. Body-worn camera captured the conversation between the nurse and the guard discussing how Bim Pong was ignored and the so-called well-being checks were not being done properly. As Bim Pong was being loaded onto a stretcher, the guard tells the jail nurse what happened earlier. He said, "He's been that way all night long. Not to worry about it," said the guard. The nurse replies, "That's not okay." Well, the guard responded, "This person, the other guard, is not checking when he's doing rounds. He's just walking by and scanning." So basically, they're making an argument saying, see, this was, even though, okay, Bim Pong really didn't do anything wrong. He was having a medical crisis. Police officers that were actually concerned about the individual, as opposed to just black guy, drugs, would have done an evaluation and said, "Oh my God, this guy's dying of a stroke. We need to get him to a hospital. And he might be alive today." Instead, they did not care. Tests showed he had a large large hemorrhage. I'll just say it like this: a massive brain bleed that had caused his brain to shift and his brain stem to squeeze out the bottom of his skull. He was declared brain dead and removed from life support on November 19th. Toxology reports by both the hospital and later the state crime lab confirmed absolutely zero drugs were in his system. The assumption he'd overdosed on drugs was clearly wrong. Not a single damn person in Egan gave a flying yeah. The lawsuits named 3 Egan police officers and 7 Dakota County correctional officers, along with Dakota County itself, as defendants. It claims violations of Bim Pong's constitutional rights on the 8th and 14th Amendment. This seems pretty cut and dry to me. They ignored training. Despite advanced DRE certification, Officer Jensen allegedly skipped required evaluation steps that would have revealed a medical emergency at that point. Deliberate indifference. Both police and jail officers were accused of ignoring classic stroke symptoms, false documentation, jail logs, intimate in cell okay, and then policy failures as well. So yeah, this is a mess, an absolute mess. This is, once again, no criminal record, no drugs in the system. They just saw black guy, black guy, black guy, drugs. It's got to be drugs, black guy. Shame on all you guys. I hope you take shit for every damn thing. I really do, because this is disgusting. Especially the guards that saw him on the ground and did nothing. I mean, just, that's inexcusable. Native Roots Radio is coming up. Stick around here. Shelly Buck and Dana Thompson. Dana Thompson. I like Dana Thompson. They're going to be joining him, as well as also Ruth Buffalo joining him as well. That's coming up next. It's Native Roots Radio, Native news that you will not hear anywhere else. You need to stay here and listen to it. It is fantastic. Robert Pilot and crew ready to go. Greg Bach and Ghost Box Radio tonight at 10 o'clock. Make sure you're here for that as well. We are back on a Friday. Have a good one. Until then, see ya.
In 1979, Paul Metza moved from the Iron Range to Minneapolis to begin his musical life. After a decorated career, multiple albums and books, over 5,000 live shows, including appearing at Farm Aid, 8 Minnesota Music Awards, and over 11 years hosting